So I know you wrote an article, and I'm curious: is Myles Garrett trade request distracting from the Browns' biggest need as they enter the 2025 draft? Combine starts tomorrow, really.
Yeah, I think from the perception of what I'm seeing from the outside, there's a lot of mock drafts that have the Browns taking Abdul Carter. There's one post there's one article I saw in particular from NFL.com where they looked at draft needs and they had edge rusher listed ahead of quarterback, even though the Browns had the worst quarterback play in the NFL in 2024. And that's kind of mind-boggling to me because as good as Myles Garrett is, fact is the Browns have won one playoff game with Myles Garrett in his 8 seasons in the NFL. Not to say Myles Garrett's not a great player. He's one of the best defensive players the game's ever seen. But the fact of the matter is, it his trade status doesn't change the fact the Browns have to figure out something at quarterback this offseason. And the idea that, if I think there's a way to approach the number two pick where you have these two quarterbacks, Cam Ward, Sanders, along with a high level edge rusher in Abdul Carter and a two-way Iron Man superstar in Travis Hunter. If you're the Browns and either quarterback's there and you don't like him and you take Abdul Carter, that's fine. That you got to be right on that, but you can understand the reasoning. But if you're taking Abdul Carter because you're trying to fill that need rather than trying to fill the quarterback need, that feels very problematic. Because, I mean, there's nothing more important in the NFL than finding your quarterback and a guy who could play at a high level. And it feels like because of this trade request from Myles Garrett, it's kind of blurred some of the perception and taken away the idea that maybe the Browns don't need to draft the quarterback because they got to just draft Myles Garrett's replacement first. And I think it's kind of backwards.
Yeah, you got to find the quarterback. The question is, what do you think of the quarterbacks? And it probably comes down to if you have them as a first round grade, you probably take the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, I mean, the worst case scenario is he busts and you're in this position again in about what 3 years, 2 3 years, where you have to make that decision again, and then you're picking a guy who's right now in high school somewhere. So, I mean, it's just the reality of kind of where we are in the NFL with now the fixed rookie contracts. Now you're not paying what $70 million in rookie salaries for a top five draft pick. Now it's so much more manageable that if you swing and miss on a quarterback, you could just maybe another regime that comes in, but as a franchise, you'll probably get another one in a couple of years. You got to keep swinging until you find that guy. And for their history since '99, for as much as they struggle, the Browns have used just two top 10 picks on a quarterback, Tim Couch and Baker Mayfield.